Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Brian. It's Friday, and thought I would spend some time with you, lovely people, as I continue my job search and continue interviewing with folks. It's going to be a busy Monday and Tuesday next week. I have two rounds of two different loops. Um, so, looking forward to speaking with both of those organizations, seeing how they operate. Two very different jobs. One of them is actually built on like content creation and more strongly towards this kind of stuff and it's very challenging, and I'm looking forward to talking with various folks. Some actually, a couple of folks are fairly well known who work at that organization, so I'm really happy about being able to spend some time with them and talk about a position. Another one is networking company. I won't divulge anything more than that, but very interesting position. A bit more responsibility than what I had at my previous organization, and yeah, the had a good discussion with the recruiter from that one. So looking forward and to hoping that those continue to move forward. Really excited about the opportunity to do both positions, but for different reasons, right? And like you kind of hope that one day you'll do a job based on your hobby or something you enjoy doing. So building you know uh, content or videos or education for hold on, just seeing myself 8 seconds ago on YouTube is just wigging me out here. Um, being able to build content and help people with understanding tools and processes and things is very very interesting. So I'm hoping that those jobs go well. Cross your fingers. So yeah. So we've got a few things to talk about today. We have a it's not it is 2026, but we have a telnet vulnerability for whatever reason. There is, let me see what else. Couple of organizations are tightening up and have left bug. Well, one has left bug bounty, which I think we mentioned shortly on Wednesday with Patrick and Wade, which I thought was a very interesting discussion about how CVEs work. A lot of overlap in my career with CVEs, CNAs, bug bounties. Bug bounties begat CVEs sometimes, or having to work with security researchers who want CVEs also are all working the bug bounty route. So very very cool, very interesting discussion that I hope you'll go and check out over on our YouTube channel. So I would be remiss if I did not thank a couple of our folks. Digital Warhead, thank you for subscribing for another 5 months here at Tier 1. 34 months of support from Digital Warhead. Love that man. I will hopefully see him next month at B-Side Seattle, which leads me to my next point. Uh, Wait 1 second. B-Side Seattle. Ah. Um, so B-Side Seattle is next month, 27th and 28th of February. They have tickets that are available. We had a call for volunteers, but the volunteers have closed. We're all full up on the volunteers, I tell you. Our call for sponsors is also closed. We have a lot of excellent sponsors this year. We have Google Cloud and PromptFu for engaging the audience, Clean Start, Scanner, CodeTool, Socket, Fingerprint, Flare, Healer, SemGrep as a core supporter. We actually have a couple of other sponsorships pending at that level. Scanner, which is another. Looks like they're also supporting our Friday social, so we have a Friday night thing going on as well. So if you're going to be in the area, we're going to be having a thing. So they're going to be paying for drinks or paying for food or something like that. We're still looking for somebody to sponsor Capture the Flag. Well, we may not be having somebody may not be sponsoring the Capture the Flag. I don't want to put words in our mouths there, but we have somebody pending for the sponsorships for the lanyards as well, and for bringing the coffee. So if somebody wants to, you don't have to be at the platinum level. You don't have to be all the way up here at Google Cloud and Prompt Fu and like uh, 100 $250 will allow you to bring coffee, and you can be supporting B-Side Seattle that way. Also, our career village is being sponsored by Eden Prescott and Founder, which are both excellent placement services. Our village will be manned by actual recruiters, so that's pretty interesting. If you are looking for a job, take advantage of that. They will definitely have resume review. They will definitely have potential mock interviews. They may actually have potential positions open. I'm not going to say yes or no on that, but just keep an eye out on that. So, anywho, oh, and Indoor Labs is going to do the career headshot station. So if you need a new headshot, like I've actually been thinking about maybe updating mine because like a good dating website, you got to have you got to look what you are currently, and that one's about 5 years old now. So I'm afraid I'm about 20 pounds heavier than and maybe a little more gray in myself. So maybe I want to keep that one because it makes me look younger. So also, I went to the Beside San Diego. We had our core meeting last night. Got to hang out with Beer Stash and the organizers. Taking over to do some of the social media engagement for this and to help out in a grander scale for the conference in whatever function they will allow me to. Got to see the electronic badges last night, and they're very, very nice. They're shaped kind of like I'm not, no, not gonna say anything. No, no. They're gonna have. I will say they will have some interaction. They will have some games potentially on there. I won't mention anything else other than that, but they are very, very nice, and um, looking forward to seeing these being handed out. Um, this is in April 4th, so got a little time if you want to come down to America's finest city. We're on the SDSU campus, San Diego State University campus, student union. It's an excellent venue for this. Um, we're expecting, I say expecting, tickets to go on sale this weekend. So that would be the weekend of the 23rd, 20 or 24th or 25th of January. Keep an eye out at bsidesd.org/home if you're interested in uh, doing that. So let me make that available for folks. Um, it's April. April is a lovely time for San Diego. Uh, Flights from Seattle are now cheap if you fly in Alaska because those are both hubs now. San Diego and Seattle are now both hubs for Alaska Airlines. So if you are in San Diego and you want to fly up to Seattle, just beside Seattle, that's an option. Or if you want to come down the other direction. But yeah, you can come out, enjoy the weekend. We're going to have a pre thing like we did last year at Novo Brewing in Mission Valley, which is an excellent brewery. You come up, pre-organized, get to meet people or network and enjoy the San Diego life, if you will, a little bit slice of that. So after hours, we're going to be at the bowling alley at Aztec Lanes, which is literally downstairs from the student union. So really, really excellent event. We are expecting to have Hacker Jeopardy again this year. We'll have pizza, we'll have an open bar with some drink tickets and bowling. So if you want to come and do that, they also have a pool table, they have air hockey, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's always a good time. And yeah, some of our sponsors, San Diego State University, Intuit, Black Hills Information Security, Sublime Security, White Knight Labs, CoTool, Spacewalk, Moken, Moken, Healer, and we're always we're still looking for other sponsors. Again, there's additional things you could do if you wanted to be the people who bought coffee for the conference or the lanyards or whatever. We have a sponsorship package if you want to check that out and see what's involved there. We are more than willing to engage with you in whatever way you want to do. And we're a nonprofit, so you can, help out with your taxes a little bit if you want to do that. So, yeah, here's the different levels. You can do badges, you get logo, signs, a verbal thanks, social media, which I'll be putting out if you're at a certain level. Uh, we'll get your, yeah, they have coffee and tea service, afternoon beverages and snacks, raffle prizes if you want to raffle off some tickets. So, anyway, I won't harp too much on that, but it's bsidessd.org. Uh, and oh, yeah, B-Sides Seattle. Sorry, B-Sides Seattle is, of course, bsideseattle.com. We still have tickets, I believe, for B-Sides Seattle. I think. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. So there we go. We will also have a career village at B-Side San Diego. My understanding is that in the past we've had CISOs, we've had senior leadership who have come to the conference who will just waltz in and just interview people for jobs that they know that they have open. So if you want to get in touch directly with hiring managers, B-Side San Diego is also a good way of doing that too. Um, you know, um, yeah, I know they're geographically disparate conferences, but um, you know, uh, they're it's not a bad time. It's not a bad time. So, all righty then. So, yeah, sleeping computer. Hackers exploit a critical telnet D auth bypass flaw to get root. Um, yeah. Uh, Telnet is still a thing. According to them, 2026 is 24016 or 061 reported on 20 January. Trivial to leverage, of course, because Telnet is from a different time. Uh, I remember using Telnet to do things like port scanning, uh, doing banner grabs or testing to see if certain ports are open on a firewall, or seeing what is going to hit me when I telnet to a certain port. And before things like NCAT or NetCat uh, came around or came about, or NC, that kind of thing. Historically, from another time, because Telnet didn't use encryption. So anything that you sent, like FTP over a wire, was going to be able to be sniffed. This was in the time before, HTTPS was a mandatory thing. So you could go to an HTTP website. You could telnet to an HTTP website and pull down that kind of stuff, kind of like curl used to be, except it was, you're communicating, all the text back to a system. So, actually, let's go and see what the blogger had to say here. Oh, okay. So this is from OSSSec, which is an excellent mailing list if you're interested in, like OpenWall or those other ones. It's an excellent mailing list if you want to get into a discussion with somebody really technical about um, security vulnerabilities, especially open source security stuff. So if you're tired of modern age vulnerabilities, and remember the good old times on BugTrack, BugTrack being also an old mailing list. I hope you'll appreciate this one. If somebody's allocated a CVE, we'll add it to future releases. So, telnetd invokes user bin login, which is normally runs as root, passing the value of the user environment variable received from the client as the last parameter. If the client supplies a carefully crafted user environment value being the string -f root, so -f root would be forced that command as root. So if it figures out how to, create an environment variable, and apparently it's fairly trivial to do so, you can authenticate as root, bypassing any normal authentication process. This happens because the telnetd server does not sanitize the user environment variable before passing it on to login. And -f is used to bypass normal authentication. Again, telnet is from an ancient time before sudo. So this was before, telnet was back in the day of before multi-user environment was a thing and everybody just logged into their mainframes as root, or before um, you know some graybeards out there realized, hey, maybe we need to have users, and maybe we need to make it so that other people can't, log in as Bob or whatever. It was very much a free, I don't want to say free love, but it was definitely a less secure world when Telnet was in its height and in its powers. So now I want to believe in 2026 there's not a lot of organizations using Telnet D. However, I think in the article it mentions that there are certain environments that might still use Telnet, like ICS or operational technology networks. Some older IoT devices may have Telnet running for whatever reason. Um, Industrial sensors, right? So, and considering um, the configuration on some of these things, ideally, you should not be allowing a port like Telnet into your environment in any way, shape, or form. Um, but there may be an edge case where an organization is using Telnet D and has to have that exposed to the internet. I don't know what that would be, but somebody out there does. Yeah, here you go. Some more technical users still rely on Telnet for some projects. Uh, Amazing this kind of vuln consists, but who uses it? Well, me. A few months ago, I added a user on an ancient vulnerable Cisco. SSH didn't want to connect because of the archaic stream. I think he meant stream. So he logged in via Telnet. I used Telnet when I was connecting to the serial port. So in the serial port, on a physical device, not through the network, but yeah, I have used Telnet to log in remotely to Cisco devices, or way back in the day, not like recently. But you would also use it on serial connections. If you're using Windows, you would use something like PuTTY, which was a nice, easy term to use instead of pulling up Hyperterm or whatever to be able to do that. Shout out to all the folks who've used Hyperterm as well. It's when PuTTY came about, it was a game changer for a lot of folks. PuTTY, yeah, for those of you who, PuTTY website looks like it's from 1996, but you know what? PuTTY is still doing awesome and still being maintained, which is excellent to see. PuTTY.software. So there you go. So yeah. So I don't know how old 1.9.3 is, but let me see. iNet utils. Now, do you need a patch on your systems? If Telnet D is not running on any of those systems, I wouldn't necessarily be concerned about it. You might want to run some internal scans to see if you've got any legacy kit that might still have it enabled, like your Cisco systems. Um, just in case it is like your connection of last resort, and make sure that your firewalls and any ACLs that you have blocked port 23. um, and there any maybe somebody decided they wanted to have some kind of heartbeat system, and the only way they could do that was using telnet. um, so here's a laptop, installing inet utils telnet d. um, yeah, so that's how easy it is right here. Just set this. So there's actually proof of concept right here. Setting telnet to inetd.conf. Then you restart your inet utils, and then you telnet to localhost. And so, if it's not difficult to do. So let me see. Oh, so okay. So somebody, it looks like it was included in May of 2015. So it's been around for about 11 years now that somebody has um, introduced this feature. Of course, recommendation is do not run Telnet D server at all. Restrict network access to Telnet port to trusted clients. Apply the patch or upgrade to a newer release which incorporates the patch. So, yeah, disable Telnet D server or make inet utils Telnet D use a custom login tool that does not permit the use of the -f parameter. Uh, See, this is one reason why mailing lists are great because you still have these next level folks. I won't say next level, but people who understand the deep magic that are showing you exactly where you can do all these things. I mean, this person's going above and beyond showing the how these things can be done, or the command line for invoking a login program, or where in the C code that this exists. Person's definitely taken the time and effort to make that happen. So there's a potential for similar vulnerabilities for other variables. So maybe there's older systems out there. Um, uh, see, on only the remote host name field is of interest. Remote host variable is populated in the function telnet setup from telnet by calling the get name info or get host by ADDR, depending on the platform. This API is generally not considered to return trusted data, thus relying on it not to return a value such as foo-root is not advisable. So there you go. And there's a patch. So there you go. There's two patches that they suggest. You go to codeberg.org. If you just want to compile your own version of inet utils without all the additional cruft, you can do that. And so, yeah, that is a very thorough version of this vulnerability. Let me add that here so everybody has it. But again, yeah, if you're in an OT or an ICS environment with a lot of legacy kit that can't be easily replaced easily, or maybe an academic network or something like that, where it's like we have to have this because of reasons, or that's how we're maintaining an ancient version, or like that person said, my SSH wouldn't work because the ciphers are ancient, and so the only option I had was to set that up. So another user confirmed the use of telnet to connect to older Cisco devices are way past end of life. Same SSH issue. Maybe you don't have maybe this is an additional step you could use to say, hey, our Cisco stuff is so old, we're vulnerable to this telnet vulnerability because we can't, properly use SSH because of deprecated ciphers that are the only thing that the SSH can use. Or maybe you can keep telnet on, but you restrict it to like a serial connection that comes from a Raspberry Pi or something like that. So you could SSH the Raspberry Pi and then use that like a bastion host to telnet through the serial port to connect to your ancient Cisco boxes. Maybe that's a way of doing it without having telnet connected to a specific IP address or something like that. There's a myriad ways of doing this so that you can protect your environment while still maybe have to use telnet if you wanted to. Um, you know, there are other ways of doing that. So they said, however, devices exposed on the public internet that still have telnet are scarce. So that's good. The fact that they found some at all is scary. Um, yes, the vulnerability is probably less critical. I would say it's a high. It's critical depending on what's exposed to the internet. So let me see, tag created. So they found 14 at least that are available. 60 telnet sessions, all deemed 100% malicious. Might be a good use of a honeypot if you wanted to set up a telnet server or a telnet service that looks like they're you're running a telnet exposed to the internet. You're probably going to be found pretty quickly. My guess is the reason that people were scanning for this stuff was usually it's legacy kit. Usually it may be something of a technical sort. Um, but the fact that you can get root pretty easily, you'd want to take a look at that. So they abuse the IAC negotiation option, okay, and grant shell without authentication. So there's no password required. So this is like if you have telnet or if you're one of these 14 IP addresses on the internet, you might want to take a look at addressing that sooner rather than later. Attacks varied in terminal speed, type, and X11 display values, but in 83.3% of the cases, they targeted the root user. Sure, why not? Why would you? Uh, why wouldn't you in this case? Um, you can also, I believe, you restrict telnet users. I want to say there's a u. I want to believe that yeah, users dot deny, right? Restrict access to telnet. Good old HPE. Let me see. You want to restrict, yeah, SU. No, I want a user named note. Can't make it. Can make, yes. Change permissions and then change. So you can also restrict who has access to it. So, hey, Walt, how you doing? I'm glad you had an good interview this morning. Uh, hope you're able to um, join us for B-Sides Seattle this next month, if at all possible. And I hope your interviews go well. When do you know you'll hear back from them, or is this just the first interview in a series or whatever? Because on Monday I have three interviews, I think, within about 30 minutes of each other for one organization, and then I have two more the next day for the same organization. Hey, Digital Warhead, I just gave you kudos a little while ago, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate you. Let me see. I want to say you can use host.deny, but it has been a while since I have been unable to. That's from 2001, by the way. Yeah, yeah, restricting. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can use TCP wrappers or just add exit zero to the user's shell. So that might be an option as well if you don't want somebody to log in as root. You might want to take a look at that. I'm not saying that that's going to solve your problem. This is from HP Enterprise, so they might have a different implementation of Telnet. I can almost guarantee their HP UX was a different implementation of a lot of shit. Um, Sent you a message on Discord a while ago. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. I did see the offer. I'm still checking to see with the organizers if I'm going to be if I'm going to need accommodations or if they're going to give them to me. I would love to take you up on your couch if that's if they're not going to comp me that. So, but yeah, I appreciate you, Digital Warhead. That's why I said you're you know go back to the beginning of the stream. Definitely gave you props and kudos, and you're a good person. First in the series, we'll know more by Monday. Okay, cool. Keep me updated, Walt. Hope everything goes well with you. But um, yeah, so you can use Etsy profile to deny specific users to log in. And again, this is back in what 2005. So there may still have been organizations using Telnet and to a greater degree than they are in 2026. So there's examples on how you can add deny Telnet based logins. Uh, so maybe you don't need them to have root; they could be user or somebody else, and that would reduce the capabilities of this vulnerability if you need to have it. Etsy hosts equiv, Etsy profile, or .r hosts as well. So there may not work, but there's definitely options there if you wanted to go check those out. Anywho, um, so this was interesting. So we talked with Patrick and Wade on Wednesday about the CVE process. A lot was made that bug bounty overlaps, and we mentioned that Curl was leaving their bug bounty program because of all the AI slop that we're getting. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to look that one up. Curl leaving their yeah. So yeah, we're heavy on the bleeping computer today. So Curl is ending their bug bounty program after they received a flood of AI slop reports. Um, it seems like other organizations like Node.js has taken a bit more of a not of an all or nothing kind of deal. Node.js is probably a little bit bigger than, well, I wouldn't say a little bit bigger, curl is just as important, if not more, than Node.js, depending on who you talk to. They're probably around, yeah. Um, so curl said, they're gonna stop doing that because one, curl offers no longer offers rewards for reported bugs or vulnerabilities and will not help researchers obtain compensation from third parties either. In this case, researcher finds a vulnerability in a service or a device, for instance, like an IoT device, that uses maybe an older version of curl. And researcher will submit the bug bounty. Um, Maybe the organization does not want to um, pay for that vulnerability because it's a hey, it's not us, it's a curl issue, or we're using outdated libraries or something like that. So the researcher goes to curl and says, hey, um, blah organization is using your curl, but they don't want to pay me. Can you help me? Um, the person running curl doesn't have time for that shit. So, that, um, and curl probably does not have unlimited funds. So a researcher who comes to you and says, "Hey, I found a curl vulnerability," um, they're not getting any. It it'll be a hey, thank you, but they don't have the money to be able to do so. We do not. Um, yeah, bug bounties. Yeah, offering cash rewards for responsibly disclosed security vulnerabilities in curl and libcurl. Daniel Stenberg, he's the lead developer and founder, says the program has seen large increase in low effort and invalid reports, many of which appear to be AI generated slop. And why is that a bad thing? Well, um, say you have a SAST or DAST tool, and or Nessus, or you're running a vulnerability scanner on your network with no tuning whatsoever. Um, if you don't take the time to tune or do your due diligence and you just send a bunch of findings to your development team, hey, we found 5,000 issues in your code repo. Here's a bunch of tickets in your Jira. Your dev team is not going to be very happy with you, especially if a good number of those are um, false positive. They are low severity, and they lack any kind of context. In that case, your was this TL draw is canceling external PR because there's too much. Oh, TL draw. Did not hear about that one. Yeah. Okay. So good catch there, Walt. Well, there you go. You can check out that. Uh, So, and actually, I need to go to the GitHub page for that. It says, hey, update on the TL draw policy with regard to contributions. For the good of the project, we're going to begin automatically closing pull requests from external contributors. We will, of course, continue to welcome issues, bug reports, and discussions. Temporary policy until GitHub provides better tools for managing contributions. Like many other open source projects, we've seen a significant increase in contributions generated entirely by AI tools. While some of these pull requests are formally correct, most suffer from incomplete or misleading context, misunderstanding of the code base, or little to no follow up engagement from their authors. Open pull request represents a commit from the maintainers that the contribution will be reviewed carefully and considered seriously for inclusion. For that commitment to remain meaningful, we need to be more selective. For now, that means closing first and selectively reopening pull requests that are actually under consideration with the expectation that most unsolicited submissions will not be reviewed. Okay. I don't know what TL Draw is. I'm sure let me go see what it's about. Whiteboard Infinite Canvas SDK. Oh, all right. So like some kind of contributor to Microsoft Whiteboard or what have you. I do. Oh, well, what's this here? What's this here? So I do find it interesting that they're shutting that down because of AI slop, but they're adding Claude code skills for writing tests and examples. So they're adding AI where they feel like they can add that, not when they want to use AI on their own terms, but when somebody sends them something that is obviously AI generated, they don't like it. Fair, I guess. Um, that'll be interesting. That will be interesting. Um, hmm. Yeah, that's I think we're going to see more of that. I would imagine we'll see more of that as we don't um I'll back up a little bit here. Let's see what some of the people thought about that. This has always been a problem with GitHub culture. On GCC mailing lists, a posted patch does not represent any kind of commitment whatsoever from the maintainers. That's a good point. Um, you read the license, software is provided as is. Maintainers do not have to make patches. They do not have to make changes to it. They do it on their own, I don't know, cognizance. What is it? They're at their own speed, right? They do their own thing at their own time. In fact, the GitHub puts the number of open PR requests at the top of every single page related to a project in an extremely prominent position is sort of manipulative, driving engagement nonsense you'd expect from social media. Ooh, okay. Uh, once it was 7 days ago. I opened a user opened an issue with a completely unrelated project of mine, posting some AI slop with step-by-step click instructions on how to unarchive the project and enable issue. Hey, I noticed that you've archived this project. Here's how to unarchive this project. He spammed the same text to two different email addresses he found from my GitHub page and Git history. I banned the user immediately from opening issues on said project, closed the issue, and ignored him, just to receive another email about why I did not comply with his request and how I would dare ban him from opening further issues. Um, the thing is, though, that person was probably trying to add something to the code base that was being used by, on the archive side, potentially to, either make a change to something that is old and no longer maintained, or to add code that could be detrimental. There's any reason why that could be a thing. So, but anyway, thank you for the TL Excalidraw. Okay, that is something I've never heard of either. Let's go see what that is. It a okay? It's a whiteboard. Okay, it's a whiteboard very similar to Microsoft's whiteboard or what have you. Probably works well on the Linux. So open save to okay, Excalidraw.com. All right, and you can also pay for the. I'm sure they have a paid version, right? Pricing is solo or $6 per user per month. Ugh. Yeah. Well, at least they have the free version. That's nice. Unlimited contributors. Theo uses it for some of his streams. Oh, okay. Very cool. All right, so you have additional bits that you can buy for that. They don't pay me to advertise that, but it is a tool you can use if you want to do that. Very cool. Okay. Um, so yeah. Anyway, back to the at hand. Let me shut that down. So Node.js is also tightening. So whereas curl is it's bug bounty program, TL draw is canceling PR requests because too much garbage from AI people, or people who probably mean well but are like, hey, I want to support open source, so I'm just gonna vibe code up something and send it along because it fixes an issue. Some of them are probably doing it out of because they want to learn how to do something. So it's like I need a task. I need something that is real world that I can do that with. I'll go find an open source project that I enjoy. I enjoy Excalibur Draw, like you said, or Excalibur Draw, um, and I want to support them. And I don't know how to code properly. In the traditional sense, I can vibe code. So they may be trying to do this out of the goodness of their heart. For some of them are just like, bleh, all over. So But Node.js is tightening their rules. They're requiring a signal score of 1.0 for vulnerability reports. Now, what is a signal score? I had to go look that up because I was unaware of the signal, uh, what signal is. So, um, what this means for you, here it is. New researchers or researchers with a signal of greater than 1.0, you can continue reporting vulnerabilities through HackerOne as usual. Those below the threshold, you can still reach the security team through OpenJS Foundation's Slack. Contact us to discuss potential vulnerabilities. So if you don't have a high enough signal score, which signal is the metric, a reputation metric that reflects the quality of a researcher's past submissions. So you have to have you basically have to have a post count if you want to, put it into some terms like that. You can't just, I'm on several Reddits, and one of the requirements is you have to have a certain age of your account. You have to have a certain karma score. So, if you're making jokes or if you're just joining a brand new Reddit, you can't just start posting in there. You have to have some history. You can't just be brand new, fresh, shiny account that's 2 days old and just start like throwing stuff on the wall and making it stick. Ideally, if you are a new researcher that is throwing a bunch of AI slop, quote unquote, uh, you are not of a, you're no longer wanted in some cases, or they're going to have additional hoops for you to jump through to get your vulnerabilities surfaced. They may be legit, but until you've gotten the reputation, you're going to have to show your work. You have to do a little more of showing your work, which is not bad. If you really want to be a legitimate bug bounty person, you're gonna do what's necessary. I actually see this signal noise filter going up above one at this point. One is probably bare minimum, or maybe you've got a couple of good findings that have been accepted or what have you. So the one thing I did notice, I did go to this is Node.js's HackerOne page. I do not see any change on their overview of reporting a bug to talk about the changes that are going to exist here. Nothing about the change of the noise here, and usually that's where you see the scope for a bug bounty program. You know what is what are the changes or what are the fixes or what do we accept, what do we don't accept, what's out of scope. Here's the disclosure policy, right? This is what you should expect when you're submitting to Node.js. Embargo dates, processing can take some time, especially when coordination is required with maintainers of other projects. uh, Project modifiers, bounty amounts, they talk about those. Be professional, things that are out of scope. So they haven't updated this yet. Last update was on 31/2025. So they haven't updated it to include the new signal stuff yet. They're probably still working on how exactly to suggest that within your um, to the organization itself. So they're legal and their PR folks are trying to figure that out. They posted the blog post a couple days ago, I guess. But yeah, they're still trying to figure that out, or they won't add that to that bit. So you're gonna have to know that going forward when you try to work with the Node.js folks. But usually, when you go to HackerOne and you look at Node.js's page, they're supposed to tell you, hey, these are the conditions in which we will accept issues. Um, so maybe they'll update it, maybe they won't. I don't know what it takes to actually get a 1.0, but they have it, right? Here, let's go look at it. So Signal provides a means of identifying hackers who've consistently valid reports, while Impact highlights those with the greatest severity. Higher a hacker's signal is, the higher the likelihood a submitted report will be reputable. So they base that on history, right? Higher a hacker's impact is, so they treat impact and signal um, So the higher the impact, the higher your signal will go, right? A bunch of low issues, you may get zero point 0.1. You know, hey, you've submitted 5 low issues, you have a point 0.5, 0.6, something like that. If it's a critical issue that was worth $50,000, you may end up with a signal of 1.2. Something like that. Um, Displays a hacker percentile rank for their signal and impact relative to other hackers on the platform. Okay, so that's interesting. Um, so my there are a ton of hackers out there. Depending on your percentile, depending on who you're working against, you may end up needing a couple of critical issues before you're a 1.0. So, and if you don't submit again and then you submit a year later, you may find that your signal is now down below 1.0, depending on how many new people have joined and how much new impact has been created. So it's a sliding scale in some cases, it sounds like. Average reputation per report. As the reputation is gained or lost each time a report is closed, signals an aggregate representation of report validity. Your signal from the last 360 days affects your signal requirements for perm. Right. So you're going to have to continue submitting issues of a certain nature, of a certain severity, of a certain impact, and they have to be accepted and not closed as spam, or they're not closed as not really a finding, or already found. Some of those things may affect your scores unless HackerOne specifically tells you it won't affect your reputation score. Oh, you can actually go negative on your only calculated when you close. There are more than 3 closed reports. These reports won't affect your. Okay, so self-closed, duplicates, or informative. So, you've submitted a bunch of stuff. It's an informative issue. It's yes, it is. It's not a low, it's not medium, it's high, it's not critical. It's just, hey, you can do this thing. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, Alice and Bob have the same reputation, 141 points, but Alice has a higher signal, 4.6 to 2.09, which indicates having a better track record of submitting valid reports. Alice also has a higher impact, 15.8 versus 9.5, therefore a higher chance of submitting an important report. So yeah, you're gonna need to have a handful of valid reports of somewhat decent severity before you'll hit your 1.0, and you'll have to continue submitting issues or your rank will fall, right? Um, so that's interesting. I expect this to be the norm. I expect more of this to be coming out. Node.js and curl and others were probably the first. Curl did it for other reasons. They're not getting a ton of money in, so they don't have a ton of money to pay, which makes sense. They probably thought at the time when they launched into bug bounty that it was going to be something to help them um, shore up their environment, or maybe it was there's any number of reasons why you would join the bug bounty program. Node.js is a big one, like Walt had mentioned. Scala draw folks or TL draw. Um, you're going to see other big organizations. Does OpenSSL have one? I mean, OpenSSL may be one that they will be. Let's see. So yeah, they have a VDP as well. OpenSSL has a program. They obviously are not using it in a traditional sense, so you have to learn how to use PGP if you're going to send an OpenSSL bug to them. Um, Groovy. Speaking of 1996, uh, gods. Honestly, if you're going to have to send PGP, the easiest implementation I've ever found has been Keybase. Uh, you're going to want, if you've never used PGP before, this is probably the dumbest. And dumbest, I don't mean in like insulting your intelligence, but it's the easiest implementation of PGP I've ever found that will allow you to send things like emails or what have you, generate your PGP key. I use it. I actually have it installed on my own computer. Been using it since I worked at Leviathan about 10 years ago. And by use, I mean I have it available. I don't use it. I have used it to, I have a PGP key through it. I've had several PGP keys over my life, but using something like what was it, Claws or something from Thunderbird. So yeah, that was a fun one. So um, yeah, so I expect this is the, I would say, tip of the iceberg, but as we're going to see, more organizations, probably popular organizations, are going to start limiting based on signal. Like maybe, and maybe that'll be like a, hey, you have to be this tall to ride this. It's That's basically what it is. You have to be this tall to ride this ride, right? So um the larger organizations maybe that work with HackerOne or Bug Crowd. I'm sure Bug Crowd has something similar. Or I think White Hat was another one I just saw recently. But it's going to be, you're going to have a reputation or a signal score of X before you can even, expect to, even submit to us. So um, that could be a double edged sword because that's going to start locking out new people, right? Uh, I mean, yeah, that's going to be a double edged sword, right? Because what if everybody starts suggesting they need to have, how are you going to get experience if everybody is like, you have to have a signal score of X to be able to do these things? You can't just be a noob bug bounty researcher and come in and do that. Everybody's going to have to be a, I don't want to say a Rhino Raider or somebody like that, but it's like everybody's going to have a handful of vulnerabilities under their hat before they can even submit something. So I think there'll probably be smaller organizations that will. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that. I could see that getting ugly real quick. I could see that getting ugly real quick. So interesting. Might be might want to contact somebody I know, see if I can get some understanding from that. Of course, I'd have to be a member of the media, so it may have to be off the record. Uh, this kills me because fucking PGP, just gods. Ugh, yuck. Um, okay. Um, Yeah, let me see. Was there anything else down here for this? No, that was it. So yeah, wow, they received over 30 reports. That's a lot for them because, like they said, triaging these reports consumes time and energy that could be spent on legitimate security work. For those, to go back to this, they're getting a ton of AI slop. They're getting a ton of reports that are time consuming and if Node.js is like any organization that has a security program or has metrics, now their metrics are shot to shit because they've got an influx of issues in the last, between December 15th and January 15th. So people were out on holiday from university, or they're wanting a couple $1,000s to be able to, buy Christmas or the, Kung Fu action grip, figurines or whatever. And hey, I know enough AI to, work on these things. So, you know, uh, yeah, that's not good. People with time off who maybe want to, get a little cash on the side, submitted a bunch of stuff. And maybe that was one person, maybe that was one or two people, and HackerOne does a good job of triaging these things. Um, but internal teams still want to verify those things, or they still want their security team to verify that these are legitimate issues. And so um, those 30 reports probably represented, I don't know how often they get those, but 30 sounds like a lot for them. I can tell you for some organizations, 30 is a week. So for them, 30 was probably represented a quarter or maybe 4 or 5 months worth of work. I couldn't tell you exactly how many Node.js is, but I could tell you 30 for some organizations could be 1 or 2 weeks worth of work. Yeah. So anywho, um, if you have to verify 30 different reports and you have to reach out to X number of people, X minus 30, I'm assuming not 30 different people. It could be a handful of reports for a handful of people. And some of those could be stupid, like dependency checks, or they're using a wrong version of a library, or you know, it's a video of somebody recording on their, their 1996, Ericsson phone on a screen because the person who is a researcher can't figure out how to do a proper screen record or something. Any number of things. I've seen them. Trust me. I can tell you stories in about 15 to 20 days, um, and off the record. So, yeah, some of the reports that I've seen is, yeah. So, this was something I found interesting. 73% of CISOs more likely to consider AI enabled security solutions. Uh, mm, every security solution nowadays has the AI in it. So I don't know why 73% of CISOs are more likely to consider those when everybody wants to put the AI in the things that they are selling. So um, they say 73% of decision makers are now more likely to consider a solution that uses artificial intelligence because, you know, it's got the AI in it, right? Uh, just like it has the blockchain, or it has HTTPS in it, or it's in the cloud. We're not doing on prem, everything's in the cloud. So this could have been 73% of security decision makers are now more likely to consider a cloud based solution than an on prem solution. Um, just is what it is, right? And because, I don't want to say all CISOs are the way they are, but they've got pressure from above to automate all the things, or to save money, or to make things more automated. We want to be on that cusp of AI. So there is, let's see, some of the things they say: malware detection, threat detection, anomaly detection, detection of unusual user behavior, real-time risk prediction, audit and compliance, automating security responses, authentication, DLP or data loss prevention, improving enterprise system visibility. Yeah. Currently leveraging AI in 35% of malware detection. That's You're going to see a lot of adoption of AI in malware detection because speed matters, right? Or detections matter. Uh, Proper detection matter, right? But that's everything is going to have AI in it. So the 73% of the CISOs that they mentioned, I would be interested to understand the 27% of CISOs who are not likely to consider AI. Um, who are those people, and what industries do they work in? And what is, well, maybe it's in here. Let me see. Who are the 27% that are not? Benefits from AI tech: faster identification of unknown threats, accelerated detection and response times. AI can sift through large amounts of data faster than previous solutions. Sure. Automating security functions to reduce employee workload. Yes. Allows security organization to be more proactive. Sure. Improved vulnerability management. Yep. Faster remediation of threats. If you're allowing the agentic agents to make changes for you, sure. Better network monitoring. Yeah. It eliminates time consuming tasks. Absolutely. Automation good within reason. What is it? Was that Oscar Wilde? Everything in moderation, including moderation. Better network and systems visibility. Yep. 100%. Recommends appropriate vulnerability resolutions that speed remediation. Some of this stuff is the same, right? Faster remediation of threats. Improved visibility and vulnerability management. Same thing, right? 37. Yeah. Not yet seeing benefits, 1%. Only 1%. And I would love to talk to that 1%, because that would be like, how are they using it? Did they get training? Are they, are there people trained up on how to use AI? Are the goals that are being set unrealistic? There's a lot of that 1% is telling, and I love that. So 99% have seen benefits. So 99% of the 73% have seen benefits from the AI enabled security. The 1% is interesting. I want to talk to that person or people. 99% of 73%. I don't know how many they picked up here. They don't mention how many people were asked in the study. Let me go see if they have that over here. Yeah. 57% have struggled to find the root cause of security incidents they've experienced over the past 12 months. Oh my shit. That is, whoa, good God. Um, 76% say it's getting harder to choose the right security tools. Well, they all have AI in them, so it's fine. It's cool. Everything has AI in it. 67% report that the role now extends beyond regional boundaries. Okay, that's fair. Uh, 72% agree that their engagement with the board of directors helps improve security initiatives. Sure. Um, 99% have seen benefits from AI enabled security technologies utilized by their organization. Again, I want to see that 1%. I want to see who, and yeah, reach out to review the full study. Sure. Nobody's going to do that. You can download the executive summary. Let me see. Sorry, Bob, CEO. Sure. Iowa. I live in Iowa. Download. Okay, so that was easy enough. Um, I feel bad for Bob at bob.com. I apologize, Bob, but yeah, uh, I want to read through this. You know, you can you can see where the PDF exists. I love salespeople, but nobody wants to see that. So I'll just put it in the link here. Link in the notes. Link in the chat if you want to go and grab that report. That way, I did the hard lifting of bob at bob.com, so you don't have to. And feel free to email me my Gmail account if you were want to check that out. I will block you if you send me ugly stuff. So uh, yeah, I want to know the sample size. That's the thing. If 76% of decision makers and there's like 20 or 5 decision makers, it's like okay, that doesn't really tell me shit. So I want to know that all these percentages are great, but what's the numbers? Uh, Yeah, there's a lot of percentages in here. I want to go through this, but it is 15 pages, and there's a lot of word stuff in here. What is your organization's stance on investing in AI-enabled security solutions? We're willing to pay a premium for AI-enabled security solutions that meet our specific security needs. It's interesting. So organizations will pay extra for AI, but are not willing to pay extra for things like MFA. And I've seen that in the past, where it's like, um, we're going to buy this tech, but once you get to MFA, because MFA is going to cost you $3 more per user per month or per seat per month or what have you. Yeah, they don't do that. But if it has AI in it, they'll pay 15 more bucks a month. I'd be interested to understand how many AIs that they're implementing. So if they're an Azure shop, are they buying the Copilot? Which ones are they using it for? Right. The Secure Access Service Edge, so SaaS, XDR, so Extended Detection and Response, Deception Technologies, 11%, DevSecOps adoption, Zero Trust technologies were considered. They say in the next 12 months, security budgets will be directed towards AI enabled security technology, application security development, and cloud data protection. How many AIs is a company going to invest in? I'm wondering that. You know, um, are you going to have the co-pilot? Are you going to have a custom AI that every organization or every solution that you're going to buy is going to have a custom AI? Um, you're going to have 15 different AIs running 14 different systems out there. You're going to have AI. You're going to have an AI. We're going back to agents, right? So how many AI agents are going to be running on your computers, right? For DLP prevention or endpoint detection. Um, where are those AIs going to set? Are they going to sit on each individual endpoint, or is it going to go to a mother brain kind of mother brain? I was just watching a video for Metroid. Some guy doing a walkthrough for Metroid. Some mother brain just came into my head. Where are those AI agents going to sit? Are they going to sit on the endpoints? Because each one's going to take up a lot of CPU, right? Each one's going to take up some processing, and there was a long time where every endpoint or every security system needed its own agent. And then there were a lot of organizations that were like, yeah, we don't want to do agents anymore because it's taking up valuable CPU or GPU in some cases, depending on what you're going to be using that for. Um, Plus, there's a lot of data you're going to have to sift through, or the AI is going to sift, which AI is going to sift through that. And I wonder at some point, are you going to have AIs clashing? Because um, back in the early EDR days, Windows Defender and CrowdStrike didn't play nice with one another, or one would try to override the other, or one would try to shut the other down because it saw it as a threat. Because EDR and malware are very similar uh, in how they act and react. So, managed service security providers, other staples of technology. So, all of your existing agents on your computers right now, or especially things like user. I think we're going to see things like what would they say, user behavior technology. So, um, how you know your AI is going to be monitoring your camera. For some companies, it's going to turn into spyware. So your AI is going to be like, he was sitting in front of the computer for this many hours. He was touching the keyboard and making keystrokes. It's going to be tracking your keystrokes. How often was Bob on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or shopping on Amazon? Uh, why did he send an email to this person at this time? What is Who is this person that he was emailing 5 times a day? Oh, he uploaded a document to this system. Why did he do that? I mean, this is typical of existing things already, but AI is going to make mistakes, right? AI is going to have people behind it to go, did we make the right decision when this AI flagged this thing? So AIs are going to be the new agents, right? We're going to need less people maybe to do those things, but we're still going to have AIs sending a bunch of data for threat detection, vulnerability management, user um, activity and tracking. In this case, uh, maybe you won't be able to put a cover over your webcam because you think somebody's going to be watching you. It's weird. It's going to be a new fun world. Um, Sometimes I wonder if I want to have a new job. So no, I'm kidding. I want to have a job. I love people. Um, there's actually a chance that I interviewed for a company that is 5 days in the office in Carlsbad, California, which is about 30 minutes north of me. Um, Interesting organization, but they were like, oh yeah, if you go to the hiring manager will have you come in for a couple of 45-minute interviews, and I was like, come in to interview for a job? And then again, I was like, wow, I haven't done that since I think since I worked at Leviathan. I think I came in for an interview at Leviathan back in 2017 or something, but it was a consultancy and we were in the office anyway. But um, yeah, that'll change how much I stream on here. Instead of it being a Thursday or Friday afternoon, I'll have to figure out whatever new normal that is. So um, I wanted to do the socvel quiz, but you know Uh, you know what? We got half an hour. Let's do it. Anyway, you go check out that report. Got any questions? Please add them down there on the YouTube channel. Or what you thought about that. Does the report sound fishy? Does it make sense? Does the math add up? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Uh, and yeah, I mean, it's there's going to be a lot of questions in here. Maybe you can use this report at work. See if it jives with what you're doing at work, and what you're going to be using AI for in this case. So close that, and let me see if what's. Let me see. Was there anything else? Yeah. So there's excuse me. AI market maturity, moving away from point solutions towards a more integrated approach. Yeah, fresh challenges for security leaders. Um, More than ever, get involved with AI, right? Uh, yes, adversaries fold AI into their operations. You'll see more of these attacks landing faster and hitting harder. That'll make resilience the question. That'll make the resilience question far more urgent. AI is worth the investment, but only where it sharpens decision making, reduces noise, and gives teams the time and clarity to act before a problem becomes a crisis. Yep, because bad guys are already using AI better than we are using AI ourselves because they're a bit more unilateral in their discussions and discretion, right? So um, they're almost like a dictatorship, right? They go, well, we're going to use AI, we're going to use it for this. We don't have to sit around and talk to salespeople who are going to, shove it down our throat. We're just going to use this thing. Okay, so Socvel's back. They took a little break, I guess. Threat intelligence news of the week. So, according to Trend Micro, which service is being abused by Asyncrat for hosting bad stuff as it blends in with legitimate traffic? Blending in with legitimate traffic. This one doesn't sound right because I've never heard of that, but try Cloudflare. A lot of people run on AWS, but I think Cloudflare probably is going to be the overwhelming. Nobody's going to block Cloudflare. Nobody's going to block Azure. Nobody's going to block AWS, but I'm guessing Cloudflare. So I'm going to go with Cloudflare. Hey, look at that. Um, all right, so we're going to go and check that out. Trend Micro. And when that one pops up, we'll hit it. Next, which support platform was exploited this week, so the week of January 23rd, to send thousands of spam emails via unverified support tickets? Oof. Um, Zendesk really jumps out at me, but Zoho Desk might be an option as well. I've never heard of the other two. Maybe it's because I'm not cool and hip. I'm going to say Zendesk. Uh, two for two. Okay. I swear I haven't done my homework ahead of time. So, oh, okay. Wait, let me remove the socvel bits here. There we go. We'll copy that into chat. Dunk, dunk. So yeah, async rat connected threat actors are exploiting Cloudflare's free tier services. Okay, that makes sense. Um, using using the free versions of things to take advantage of that. AWS has free stuff as well, which is why I was thinking it was AWS. I did think about free tier services, but yeah, that makes sense. Anything that has a freemium option where it's like, hey, you can spin up a simple VM or something like that for free could be used in this way too. But they have free tier services for some of the things at Cloudflare that are being used. Tunneling domains to host their web dev servers, masking malicious activities. Okay. Attacker uses a legitimate Python download from official sources, establishing a complete Python environment on victim systems to execute sophisticated code injection using targeting explorer.exe. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then, of course, Zendesk hijacking in a massive spam. They started on January 18th. People reporting on social media they'd received hundreds of emails. I did not receive anything. While the messages do not appear to contain malicious links or obvious phishing attempts, the sheer volume and chaotic nature of the emails have made them highly confusing and potentially alarming for recipients. They're just generating noise. Attackers are abusing the Zendesk's ability to allow unverified users, oh, interesting, unverified users to submit support tickets, which then generate confirmation emails sent to the email address the attacker entered. Okay, so that's interesting. When you're unverified, you can say, well, I'm bob at bob.com. Send me a bunch of emails. I'm going to send you a ticket. So yeah, you get that back. Because Zendesk sends automated replies confirming that a ticket is received, the attackers are able to turn these systems into a mass spamming platform. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and you can add multiple emails as well, including large email lists. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. So if you know of a email list, you could spam a bunch of people or um, yeah, yeah. Hmm, interesting. You would think that they would change it to only verified users can submit support tickets, but maybe that's not their business logic. Anywho, next, Jamf, which is a mobile device management system, recently warned of malicious Visual Studio Code Git repos that download JavaScript payloads from which service? Hmm. Mm. Well, I know that you can upload files to Dropbox and make that happen. Uh, Git repos, malicious Git repos that download JavaScript. Vercel.app. Ooh, could be that one. I'm gonna say Dropbox. Seems like I think you can get a free Dropbox account as well. So, ooh, Vercel.app. Okay. Jamf Threat Labs identified additional abuse of Visual Studio Code. See the latest evolution in the Contagious Interview campaign. Contagious Interview. And I thought Radiant Sunset or Slappy Hippo was a threat actor, interesting threat actor names, but now we have Contagious Interview. Anyway, um, Vercel.app. Okay, so hmm. User clones, opens, and trusts a malicious repo. Okay. VS Code task.json triggers download from a malicious server. Payload executed via node.js runtime. Ugh, excuse me. Interesting. So node.js. I wonder. Huh, January 20th. So between I'm going back to the Node.js article we talked about. They said they got 30 reports from January 15th to or December 15th to January. They're probably not connected, but it was just interesting that Node.js is included as part of the bits here for this. Um, so it wasn't a good couple of weeks for Node.js. They were being used for payloads for running bad guy stuff, and they were getting multiple bug bounty issues. Where's Vercel.net app? Okay, so moralmetrics.vercel.app. Okay, there you go. A platform increasingly used in recent DPRK related activity following a move away from other hosting service. Ah, okay, so they're a hosting service. That makes sense. All right. Wow. Okay, so they're using Vercel.app. I wonder if it's a freemium account, like they get a free. Can you get a free account? Let me see. Sign up. I'm working on personal projects. Okay, so you can sign up and get a personal project instead of the pro version. Maybe you get some kind of simple thing where you can set that up. Stripe had 100% peak time. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so you can get a hobby account. Maybe you can get it for free or for very little or for 30 days or something like that. Anywho, Jamf. Here, here we go. All right. Interesting. A lot of free tiered stuff out there can be used, or low cost stuff as well. Or somebody who set up an account has really poor security on their Vercel.app hosting system. So like a WordPress or something, you can take it over, host stuff on it, that kind of stuff. All right. Next, Cyata, Cyata, has found some serious security vulnerabilities in the official Git MCP server. Who maintains this project? Git, 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 Git. Git is Google, isn't it? Because Microsoft owns GitHub. Does that mean they own Git as well? Hmm. I'm gonna. I don't think it's either. I don't think it's either one of these. I think they're too new for that. Git has been around for a long time. I'm gonna say Microsoft. Damn, it is Anthropic. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see. The official Git MCP server. Yeah. Well, you're right. Yeah, Anthropic. Okay. I guess that would make sense that they would have, the official Git MCP servers maintained by Anthropic. Okay. I was thinking of Git like the application. So, oh, okay. So if you're using MCP server Git versions prior to 2025 12.18, they suggest you update to the latest version if you can. Model Context Protocol, open standard introduced by Anthropic in November 2024. Unified AI assistants, Claude, Desktop, Cursor, Windsurf, etc. Interact with external tools and data sources, including file systems, databases, APIs, and development tools like Git. Okay, interesting. The Git server is pretty straightforward. You configure it like this. There you go. Then you call basic Git commands: Git add, Git commit, Git log, Git diff, and so on. You can call a tool in server Git. This is what the code looked like. Do you see the problem? I'm guessing repo path is bad. Okay. Do you see the problem? Repo path comes directly from arguments repo path. The repository flag was configured, is never compared or checked. Server just uses the path it receives. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Matter of fact, that looks like an answer to one of the Python questions I had when somebody tried to do a code exercise with me as a recruiter. I called this out because they, oh, do you see anything wrong here? And I was like, oh, well, since you're calling it out, that's probably where the vulnerability is, but I couldn't tell you. So here's the answer to that, recruiter, if you're watching this. So it would probably never compared or checked. It just the path it receives. So interesting. That means an attacker could access any Git repository on the system, not just the one configured in dash dash repo. Good answer. Good answer. There's that. And there is that. Cool. Okay. I'm 2 for 2 right now. Got to get back on this. Okay, let's go. Wiz, of course, discovered an amazing discovered a supply chain vulnerability that could have compromised which client consoles? Client consoles. Um, I'm willing to take, any guesses from any of the viewers who are watching. If you are watching or lurking, please feel free. ChatGPT, GCP, Azure, or AWS. I am going to say Wiz is Google. Wiz is owned by Google, I think. So maybe GCP, AWS. Okay, we'll go with AWS. Oh, look at you, Walt. Did you cheat? No, I'm just kidding, Walt. Um, I've not been checking out my news this week, so as you can tell, I'm not 5-0 here. So okay, code breach: infiltrating the AWS console supply chain and hijacking AWS GitHub repos via code build. Ah. Critical supply chain vulnerability that abused code build misconfiguration to take over key AWS GitHub repos, including the JavaScript SDK power. Oh my hell. Oh my god. That's awful. Oh my hell. Look at that. You now have admin access to the SDK JSP3. Just two missing characters in a regex allowed unauthenticated attackers to infiltrate the build environment and leak privileged credentials. Sweet God. Well, that was an incident. Um, oh my God. AWS also implemented global hardening measures within the code build service to prevent similar attacks. Yeah, that one was definitely an incident. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. Okay. So here's the chain, right? Code build, attacker exploits code breach to leak GitHub admin token. Attacker pushes malicious code to compromise repo, in this case, the SDK JS of V3. Malicious release propagates to AWS console, and then uh, profit. Every AWS environment in the world. Wow. Okay, so yeah, check your regexes, folks. Because regex can get you real good. Yeah. Anyway, all right, next. The UK NCSC, which is like their version of CERT, or not CERT, but CISA, I think, warned of continued pro Russia DDoS activity. What tool is commonly used for this? Mm-mm. I don't know any of these. I don't recognize any of these. DDoS, that's pretty funny. That one's a good one there. Undos. Oh my god, that one's funny. I like that one. That one's hilarious. Um, DDoS boss. Hmm? What? It sounds like Russia. DDoSia. So Russia. Yeah. I'm gonna say they're trolling us here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one here. Oh, look at me! They were trolling us there with that one. So that one makes sense. Pro Russia hacktivists. So the NCSC encourages local government and critical infrastructure operators to harden their denial of service defenses. You know what they should do? They should get on Cloudflare because Cloudflare is good. It never goes down, except when it does. Mm. You're pretty much screwed there. You know. Yeah, harden your denial of service defenses. So use Cloudflare or Akamai, right? So Akamai has not gone down yet much, often. Maybe you could use Akamai or something. Um, Understand the denial of service mitigations your IP has in place on your account. Look into third-party DDoS mitigation services that can be used to protect against network-based traffic attacks. Consider deploying a content delivery network. Ding, 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 ding. So there you go. You got your Akamai or your Cloudflare there. Understand when and how your service provider might limit your network access in order to protect their customers, or consider using multiple service providers for some functionalities. Split your stuff up there. So you know, Cloudflare, all the things, yo. Everybody loves some Cloudflares. There's that. There's that. Yeah. Uh, oh yeah. Let me copy the Wiz.io one in here too, because I know I didn't add that one. Here we go. All right, getting in the home stretch now. We got four left. Group IB released their weaponized AI report. What do you call an uncensored, self-hosted AI model trained specifically for malicious use? Hmm. This one's too wordy. There's too many syllables in there. So they want something like bad, dark, evil, dodgy. Dodgy. Hmm. Dodgy sounds English, like UK English. I'm not sure I want to use that one. Dodgy LLM? Dodgy LLM? It's almost like, what are you naming your baby? So you want like some kind of like, oh, that's a clever name. I'm gonna say dark LLM. Hey, Look at me. Yeah, you didn't want anything with too many syllables. This goes back to my theory of back when we had disc wars, like Blu-ray versus HD DVD. Blu-ray sounded cooler, right? You want something that sounds evil. And I'm surprised they didn't have evil LLM on here, but dark LLM is the right one. It's good for marketing, right? Dark LLM. Group IB. Well, that's okay. There you go. Oh, they have a report. Uh, Sorry, Bob. In other news, somebody at bob@bob.com has gotten a lot of spam recently. Uh, Bob@bob.com, Bob Inc. Bob is the CEO of bob.bob.com. I understand. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna, send more garbage. Oh, they use. Okay, there you go. Sorry, Group IB. That's why Apple products have short names. Yes, absolutely. The iCar versus names with four or five to eight syllables. Yeah, exactly. So there's the PDF for this report. I'm not going to go through it. It's 52 pages. And it's like in geezer font. So I'm going to shrink it down at 30%. This is what it looks like. So, a lot of percentages. So keep in mind, 371%. What was the baseline? What was the original number, right? And why is it now 371% more? Dark LLM sold as subscriptions per month, 251 posts. Okay, so they do have a write up. Dimitri, thank you, Dimitri, for writing this. Introduction. Whoever really wrote this gets kudos versus you. I'm sure a lot of people at Group IB are going to be good with this. Sorry for all of the lost sales that you got because somebody downloaded the link that I gave them on my stream. My apologies. Anyway, next. Arctic Wolf. Okay, Arctic Wolf. Know them. Good people. Warned of a campaign against malicious SSO or single sign-on logins to steal configurations from which firewalls. Ooh. Um, all of these have had their share of CVSS, super terrible bads. I want to say Cisco because that would be my guess. And when you think of VPNs or VPNs with SSO, you think of Cisco VPNs. That's not a marketing or sales thing. They are not sponsoring the show here, but that's what leaps to mind when I think of it first. So, and they're probably Fortinet. Okay, okay. So sorry, Fortigate. My apologies for not thinking of you as a best in breed, but when I think of SSO and firewalls, I'm thinking Cisco. I grew up with Cisco, right? Blue Coat was like the new hotness back in the day, but okay, so they began observing a cluster of automated malicious activity involving unauthorized firewall config changes on FortiGate devices. This activity involved the creation of generic accounts intended for persistence, configuration changes granting VPN access to those accounts, as well as exfil of the firewall configs. This is a developing situation, and we will share more technical details of this threat with the public as more information becomes available. Interesting. So there's that. In December, Fortinet released an advisory for two critical auth bypass vulnerabilities. Okay, so I think I remember seeing those. I think we may have talked about something like that. Um, Shortly thereafter, Arctic Wolf began observing intrusions involving SSO, malicious SSO logins in FortiGate appliances. So this was one where it was like, you got to patch your shit, right? Because obviously this is the aftermath, right? If you don't patch, bad guy's going to get into your shit. So in this case, they got in, they changed configs, they want persistence, they're going to add they're going to add stuff to your firewall configs to make it so that it's easier for them to get in later, like initial access brokers, for instance. So if you have a Fortinet device, maybe you can now buy access to your firewall on the dark web through an initial access broker. Seems like that would be a log where it would be like, hey, why is a new account being added to our, firewall? Um, well, if you're not logging those firewall logs, you probably didn't see that in the first place. So, yeah, you got a ton of stuff there. But yeah, so it's a good write up here. If you got time, you want to read all through that. One of these days, I'm going to take the time to do that, but it'll probably take me 3 hours to walk through exactly how everything worked there. Oh, there you go. Curl, we talked about this one. So if you were here earlier, you're going to get this one right with me. So this one is AI slop reports. So Curl ended their HackerOne bug bounty program due to receiving too much what? AI slop reports. There we go. Yep. And of course, that one goes to the GitHub talking about that. Um, I don't see any. I don't see any responses to that. Let me go see if there's anybody have any heartburn over that. I don't see anybody who. Well, he closed it, so maybe no, they're not taking any remarks. So this is one of those things. Well, there you go. Comment was marked as abuse. Ooh, let's see. So Luddites laugh at how bad vibe coding is, but when AI finds more bugs than code in a human project, they take down the bounty instead of fixing them. Yeah, I can understand why some people are unhappy with that, but let me see. Anything else? BBP curl 1.1 must die. Okay. Uh, Okay, so this is it shows the changes he's made to this thing. I mean, if you think about it, the idea of bug bounties came to be in the context of businesses because for businesses it is simply cheaper. For every one person that finds something, nine shows a number by fair dice roll. People have wasted large amounts of unpaid time doing an audit of your code base. So fundamentally, the tool was conceived for value extraction, but suddenly the value was extracted back through bogus reports. Anyway, probably doesn't really belong here. I thought this perspective or take might provide some value. In the middle of all that, free and open source projects adapted it because it was what everybody was doing, and then you got caught in the crossfire. Yeah, yeah. Feel free to point out all the bugs you say we've not fixed. That SeedMank guy is unhappy. Seems to me maybe Dmitry from Russia is unhappy with being able to not submit bugs to curl. Dmitry from Russia, by the way. It's like saying Joe Bob Billy from, Kentucky or something like that. That's a disgrace for the bug bounty industry. I'm sorry for the quality you received with your program. I'm worried about the future of my industry considering the platform's behavior with low quality hunters. Fair. Um, I can't blame anyone on the curl team for this. I've tried hunting for bugs on this as well, and I'm glad to report I came up with 0 hits. Yes, I used AI for code review assistance. I've also submitted no reports on HackerOne because I didn't find any valid issues which crossed any meaningful security boundary. Oh, AI tends to agree, of course. I found 5 different paths to critical RCE in nearly 1 out of 10 files it audited. It doesn't matter which LLM you ask, the difference is in how you use it and how much you depend on it. Right? That's the big thing, right? If you're spraying and praying, that is going to cause you some problems. Versus all the reports which are a direct copy paste of ChatGPT without knowing a word of what it says, and copy pasting the triager's questions or dismissals and copy pasting GPT response back. Yes, exactly. Yes, I collect these reports. It's quite comedic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Patience and general intolerance for these reports is admirable. Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to read all of this, but yeah, it's interesting to see the folks who um, maybe are some of those low effort people. Um, yeah. This is AI slop is the same as a SAS or dash report that you're just spraying and praying. So, all right, well, that's good. All right, we've got maybe one more. I think yeah, this will be the last one. Sophos warned of a tampered chef. I've heard of tampered chef before. I think we may have talked about that one. How are users tricked to installing the software or the malware? SEO poisoning, phishing, click fix, or AI videos? So tampered chef. I'm feeling the AI video thing. I'm I'm feeling the AI video thing because when I think tampered chef, I'm thinking of like like the chef videos that you see on Facebook or whatever. Maybe with a link that says, "Hey, click here for cool stuff." So no SEO poisoning. Interesting. Okay. Serves bad ads. Oh, it serves serving chefs. Okay. Damn. Sophos XOps explores a malvertising campaign that leverages Google Ads to distribute an info stealer. Okay. MDR managed detection and response teams, malvertising campaigns, distributing an info stealer dubbed Tampered Chef. So you're serving ads, serving food. And I get it now. Okay. Through telemetry analysis and threat hunting, Sophos MDR confirmed 100 customer systems were affected before detection and response efforts began. Wow. That's either they were very effective and swift, um, or they were able to evade detection until Sophos came in, which is, um, yeah, I mean, that's just how effective some of these things were. According to telemetry, the majority of victims affected were in Germany, the UK, and France. That's, wait, 15, around 15. So 15 ish, 14 ish, and 9 ish. So assuming 15, 15, and 10, that's 30, 40%. So where are the other 60%? Excuse me. 19 countries in total. So it backed off to like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, less than 1% kind of thing. Victims of this campaign spanned a variety of industries, particularly those where operations rely on specialized technical equipment, possibly because those users or industries frequently searched online for product manuals. Okay, interesting. Um, wow. So one start is a tampered chef starts leveraging multiple decoy sites promoting a PDF editor. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Technical documents, right? So need to download a new leaf blower PDF. Malware remains dormant for 56 days. So you think, oh, nothing is wrong. And then it comes online, right? Systems with the installed payload receive a command to activate the info stealer, leading to theft of sensitive data. And then identifying 300 affected hosts, 100 compromised systems, and they completed the threat hunting on September 11th. So it took them 8 days to go through and wade through the swathe of data that they're using for that. So, cool. All right. Well, that's good. You can go check out everything, the IOCs and all that for that. I think one of these days I'm going to see if people who write these write ups will come on the show, like Sushmita Shetty. Uh, come on and talk about those if they can. That would be an interesting discussion to see if we can talk with them and understand and go through and explain that. I don't know if that would be interesting by our users. If you're interested in that, please let me know down below in the YouTube. Also, like, subscribe, hit the button. You know, I don't say that a lot, but if you found value in the stuff that we were doing with Patrick and them, I'd love to have some more interviews this year, depending on my situation and what we're doing. Um, Maybe pursue some more sponsorships, to offset not my living costs, but the podcasts and stuff. Because I do have to pay for Zoom and Libsyn and all that stuff too. So that is a little bit of a cost. Or if you find value in this and you can, you have the means and wherewithal, subscribe on our Twitch or what have you. So and also telling your friends, because once I get so many thousands of hours on YouTube, I can maybe get rid of Twitch and start maybe working that angle over on YouTube, so, for all the good that it does. So uh, wow, so it's a user goes to a website with sponsored ads, website info stealer, MSI downloads, PDF editor, view this PDF, click on this MSI, right? That makes sense. PDF editor, exe, browser data, exfiltration data. Browser data, I'm assuming, is probably passwords, uh, cookies, OAuth kind of stuff. Also creates a registry key and scheduled tasks to gain persistence, right? Initial access, right? Execution, installer deployment, right. Persistence and a privilege abuse. So yeah, in PDF editor updater. Very interesting. Okay. Create scheduled tasks, execute binary with multiple command flags. So it will create a scheduled task. Doesn't look like it writes to memory, maybe. Payload deployment and credential theft. So it installs into PDF editor. So um, looks like it's fairly noisy. So if you start seeing IOCs like this, where PDF editor is a program in local lab data, it also enumerates security tools: Bitdefender, Checkpoint, Fortinet, GData, Kaspersky, Zilia. My registry queries likely is an anti-detection measure, right? So it's smart enough to go, oh, what's going to find me, right? What is going to see is available. It may be that Sophos was one of those things that it's looking for as well, or other endpoint security solutions. So Bitdefender, uh, and it tries to uninstall those, or it attempts to uninstall those things as well. Um, Kaspersky, Fortinet, Bitmain. Maybe those are the ones that it could find, right? Or it could uninstall without having to do any of this. So, yeah, /v uninstall string. Secondary payload in C2, so it acts as a command and control server. Interesting. Code setting abuse. Anyway, all right. Well, I got 5 of 10. Oh, 6 of 10. We did better than average. Thanks. The curl one put me better than half, so that's good. So yeah, go check this out. Hopefully socvel.quiz. You can join the fun. Puts those out on a semi-regular basis. I don't think you need to see all of that, but and yeah, it's a good learning tool and keeps you up to date on security news. And the websites that they put on there are good for RSS feeds or additional editing. So um, all right, well, that was a good time. Hope everyone had a good time. I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend. You know, Patriots are playing Denver, and was it the Seahawks are playing the Rams? Yeah, I know the Seahawks are playing because I'm rooting for them. Hope you have a great weekend. Uh, Walt, good luck on interviews on Monday. Hope everything goes well there. Thank you, Digital Warhead, for hitting me up. I'll definitely respond to you on the Discord about that. I do need to double check with the organizers up in Seattle about what's going on there. I have to book my flight as well. So one of the things I'm going to try to ask subtly is, am I going to get reimbursed for this? Because I'm not made of money anymore. So but yeah, I am expected to be in Seattle, and I have a job to do up there for the conference. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that. So anyway, y'all have a good weekend. Take care. If you're in an area where the winter storm is about to happen, please stay safe. Don't drive out on the roads. It's going to be icy and or snowy in the large parts of the United States right now on the eastern seaboard, and from actually west parts of Texas, from like El Paso all the way up to Maine, which is crazy. My family is in Missouri and East Texas, so they're going to get a good bit of snow and a good bit of ice. So you got 10 of 10 on the quiz. Good job, Walt. I did not, obviously, but good job, Walt. Um, I wish we could put that on our resumes. Like, oh, I scored 6 of 10. Well, I wouldn't put 6 of 10, but I do really good on the Socvel quiz. Oh, hey, hire you for threat intelligence or something. Anyway, y'all take care, be safe, and we'll talk soon. Okay. All right.